The night began with a tremor I couldn't place. Not in the room, not in the air. In me. It was the way my wife squeezed my hand before we entered her father's mansion. Too soft, too careful, like someone trying to calm a threat she didn't understand. Inside, everything gleamed. Polished floors, crystal lights, people who measured worth in whispers and wine price tags. And somewhere between those glittering surfaces, I caught the first shift. Her father's eyes narrowing the moment he saw me, as if I'd walked in wearing dirt on my name. He leaned toward his wife and muttered something. The smile she returned wasn't a smile, more like a polished sneer. Then came the message on my phone. Unknown number, unknown timing, just one line. He's planning to humiliate you tonight. My pulse froze, then slowed. Danger never startled me. It clarified me. My wife glanced at my screen, her expression tightening for just a second. Worry? Guilt? Recognition? I couldn't tell, but the tremor inside me deepened. The dining room door opened, and her father's voice boomed across the table. Finally, the entrepreneur is here. Just that word, entrepreneur, curdled like spoiled milk in his mouth. I stepped inside. Every face turned. Every smile was thin. And the tremor finally made sense. Something was coming. Something planned. Something meant to break me. I just didn't know yet that he was the one who would shatter instead. Because he had no idea what I already knew. It began harmlessly. Small talk sharpened into subtle jabs. "How's the office?" one uncle asked. "You still renting that tiny unit?" another chimed in. I smiled. Quiet, observing. My wife kept her gaze on her plate. But her father wanted a spectacle. Some men breathe wealth. He inhaled power. "So tell us," he said loudly, locking his eyes on me, "is your startup still operating from that cramped shoebox?" A few cousins snickered. He continued, voice dripping with calculated mockery. "I mean, my daughter deserved someone with ambition, not a man whose biggest achievement is, what, fixing laptops for spare change?" The laughter that followed wasn't loud, just cruel. Well practiced. My wife whispered, "Dad, please." He cut her off. "No, sweetheart. Let the man speak. Let him defend his choices." He looked at me the way a butcher looks at a cut of meat, already carved in his mind. I stayed still. But inside, pieces clicked together. My wife's recent distance. Her father's sudden invitations to family meetings without me. Her unexplained absences, the late-night hushed calls, the shift in her posture around him, fear, tension, something between them that wasn't spoken. Their reactions tonight made something settle coldly inside my chest. There was betrayal here, not just mockery, something deeper, something rotting beneath the surface. And her father was circling me like a man confident he held every card. Except one. The missing piece, the part he had no idea existed, sat quietly in his own dining room, pretending to enjoy the wine. His biggest client. A man who had sent me that anonymous text earlier. I could feel a storm building in that man's silence. He wasn't looking at my wife, not at her father, just at me. Waiting, watching, timing the moment that would ruin a king. I played along, laughed softly, nodded at the insults, let the room think I was shrinking. Inside, my mind moved like cold machinery, assembling every breadcrumb I'd gathered over the past 3 months. The suspicious meetings my wife attended at her father's company. The way she hid her phone with sudden, trembling urgency. Her father's accountant asking me strange questions about my business revenue. The files I found, deleted, then recovered, detailing valuations of my company, as if someone was preparing to acquire it behind my back. But the final piece, the one that shifted everything, came from the man sitting 3 seats down, her father's largest client, a billionaire, one of the quiet ones, the kind who destroyed empires without raising their voice. 2 weeks ago, he requested a private meeting with me. He spoke calmly. "I know what your father-in-law is planning. He wants to absorb your company, strip you, erase you." I didn't flinch. I simply asked, "Why? Tell me." His response was a quiet grenade. Because he thinks he can use my name to do it. And because he doesn't know, you're my son. I thought it was a joke until he showed me the papers, the confirmation, the sealed adoption records my mother left behind before she died. My blood wasn't the blood of weakness. It was the blood her father worshipped. Just not mine. He never knew. He promised me something then. When the time comes, I'll stand. Let him bury himself first. So I waited, watched the room, watched my wife avoid my eyes, watched her father sharpen his words like knives dripping with arrogance. He thought tonight was his victory. He had no idea this was his funeral. The moment came when her father slammed his glass on the table. "You know what bothers me?" he said, leaning forward. "That my daughter married this, a nobody." Silence tightened around the table. My wife trembled. Her eyes glistened, not with sadness, with fear, because she knew something was about to ignite. I kept my hand still. Then her father turned to his biggest client, the man he believed was his greatest asset, and said, "I'm thinking of expanding our tech divisions, and naturally, I'll need your backing. Consider my son-in-law a stepping stone." The man slowly set down his fork. His voice was quiet, cut from steel. "Actually," he said, rising from his chair, "that's my son." Every breath in the room died. My father-in-law's face drained of color so fast it looked painted. "Son?" he stammered. "You're what?" The man didn't repeat it. He didn't need to. My wife's hand covered her mouth. Her father's arrogance shattered on the floor between us. And I simply watched, calm, cold, almost detached. He had finally seen the truth he feared most. He had mocked a man born above him. And he had done it publicly, humiliatingly. I stood slowly, not angry, just finished. Then I placed a folder on the table, right beside his trembling hand. His eyes flicked down. Inside were valuations, ownership transfers, board signatures. His empire, everything he built, had been quietly bought out over the last 3 months. By me, with the man standing beside me. He opened the folder. His lips quivered. His voice cracked. "This can't be real." "It's already done," I said quietly. "You were so busy trying to destroy me, you didn't see the ground disappearing under your feet." My wife whispered my name, voice breaking. I didn't look at her. Her father grabbed the edge of the table as if the room were spinning. You planned this?" "No," I replied. "You planned it. I just finished what you started." He sank back into his chair, defeated, small, exactly what he thought I was. I walked toward the exit. My wife tried to follow. Her voice cracked behind me. "Please, wait." I didn't. I had waited long enough. Outside, the cold night air felt cleaner than anything inside that house. My father, my real father, stood beside me. "You handled it well," he said. I nodded. But inside, there was no triumph, just silence, a quiet detachment carved from months of betrayal. I wasn't walking away victorious. I was walking away aware of what people become when they think you're powerless, aware of how far they'll sink to break you, aware of how calm revenge feels when you stop caring about applause. I reached the gate, didn't look back, didn't need to. Some victories don't echo, they whisper. And mine whispered one truth. I didn't rise, they fell.